This turban, it always reminds me of the discipline that I'm supposed to portray on that. Even given the presidency, I wouldn't perform as miserably as people will probably judge me. That person is Kara with that, the tallest guy in Ngong. Unajua hizo siasa duni.
Hi there, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Njoki, Emeldah, and if you've watched my previous videos, thank you so much. I see you, my friends. I see all of you. I thank you for the positive feedback. And if you haven't subscribed and you're watching this right now and your subscribe word written down there is red, please touch it. It can turn gray, and that way you'll have considered yourself subscribed. I cannot insist enough on having young people, young ambitious people who do not have a chance to bring out their profiles or to speak of their agendas. And that is why I have dedicated mine solely to this purpose. And today I have another young leader who is doing great things in Ngong ward. I know him personally as a person who has put himself out there to fight for the youth agenda, and he's going to speak about that and more as he speaks about his ambition and his plan for the people of Ngong. His name is... He's going to tell his name. Thank you so much for coming. How are you?
Thank you, Emeldah. First and foremost, allow me to thank you for having me and giving me this opportunity. Yes. For sure, such an opportunity has not been there for many years back. But given this platform, we are very grateful because we feel considered as upcoming and young political leaders. But without much ado, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Mbiriri Mwaura, and I'm a resident of Ngong. Professionally, I'm a financial consultant, having done my CPA to level K, and also having graduated from Kenyatta University with a degree in Bachelor of Commerce, majoring in finance. And also, apart from my professionalism, I'm also engaged in politics, where I've been carrying out community works, dealing majorly with charity doings, and also fighting for the rights of our people, which has led to me being branded as a social justice advocate.
Social justice advocate. I think that is where I've known you as. I've also met you in so many youth lobby groups, and I know you from there. But now you've spoken about your university education, but most of us would really like to know you even better. So if you can start from where you started schooling, where you grew up, how was your childhood, your high school life, and such.
Thank you for that. I was born and raised in Kilifi, which is a county in the coastal region. Before the devolution, it was the coastal province. But I started my primary school at a school known as Kilifi Primary, then moved on to another school known as Kilimo Primary. And then when I was about to join class 6, that's when we shifted with my mom and my siblings to Ngong. And then I joined Greenyard Academy. That's where I did my class 8, and then went on to join secondary school. In my secondary school, I've been to a couple of schools, given many reasons. I won't...
which we will not delve in right now.
No, not really.
That's a story for another day.
That's a story for another day, but I've been through a couple of secondary schools. But my first secondary school was in Njoro Boys, and then where I finished my Form 4 was in Kalimoni. And Kalimoni is in a town known as Kalimoni, which is next to Juja. I'm pretty sure people know of Juja town, and that is where I did my Form 4 before joining now Kenyatta University and doing my CPA, come my BCom. Yes.
So you also have other accolades. You're a recent father.
By the way, sorry, I'm forgetting that part, which is very crucial.
Very crucial.
Yes, I got married back in 2019, late 2019 to be precise, in October. And I'm gladly, or rather, I'm happy to announce that God has seen us through, and we've been able to be blessed with a daughter by the name Amari Wangoi.
Congratulations. I'm sure she'll be proud of his dad. Her dad. I have corrected that. So now let's talk about your social advocate journey. Yes.
Okay, as you all know, I did vie back in 2017. And I did it under the umbrella of Ukweli Party. Ukweli Party is a political party in Kenya where our chairman was Boniface Mwangi. And we all know Boniface Mwangi for his activism, isn't it? So yes, he's a mentor to me. and that is where I picked most of my activism from. So what we are trying to do as Ukweli Party, or rather we tried to do back in 2017, is that we wanted to take activism to leadership. Where activism is all about fighting for human rights, and that is the work of our leaders. But given the past failures that has been experienced, or rather has we've seen, I think it has given us a platform where we as the young generation can take this mantle up and go bring the change that we usually desire for.
So before 2017, before you vied, were you also in this social justice space? Or how exactly did leadership come to awaken in you?
Okay, good question, Emeldah. As you can see and you can tell, I'm a young person. So
would you mind to tell us how old you are? I am sure people are interested.
Oh, not that young, neither that old. I'm 30 years of age.
That's very young.
And given that, as I was saying, I'm a young person. So back in 2017, before 2017, I wasn't that much involved in politics, that I wouldn't lie, but I was following up on the political occurrences in our country. And what happened is, I was seeing that there was something that was lacking in our leadership, because you'll tend to see that there were some mistakes that were happening, which were so, what is the word? As in, hizo shida zilikuwa zinatokea ni vitu zenye unaona ni vitu solvable. But most of our leaders wouldn't take part in it. And one of the major issues that I've come to notice with our leadership is implementation. I think most of our leaders usually talk big, but when it comes to action, it is zero action. So
was that what pushed you?
Exactly. Bad leadership is what pushed me into politics, because I usually categorize myself as
would you like to point out specific things that you saw, especially being in Ngong ward? Now let us be specific about being in Ngong ward. What are those things that you think were solvable through implementation?
There are so many. The list is so long that I'm pretty sure if we start naming them one by one, we won't even finish before we finish this interview. But the most so ones and the ones that are very explicit to our eyes is the Ngong Stadium. That is number one. Number two, there's the our feeder roads, of course. They are in a deplorable state. Security, things to do with security. Our health facility is not that bad off, to name but a few.
I see there's so many. Yes.
Exactly. So most of those things are things that given a good leadership, we can make a difference, and also make sure that these things are working and are made in such a manner that they are helping our the residents of Ngong. So that is what drove us into politics, and I'm pretty sure given that opportunity, we are going to make a change that we so much desire of. And we pray that come 2022, the people of Ngong will decide otherwise and give us that opportunity, because we believe we can make that change that we so much desire.
You have spoken about Ukweli Party, and I know your relationship with Boniface Mwangi. But from how we know Boniface Mwangi is that he doesn't spare his energy or his anything when it comes to activism. What are some of the things that you have picked on so far that you think are going to help you throughout this journey?
Anasemaga team courage.
Yes.
So yes, one of the things that I've picked up from Boniface Mwangi is courage. Yes, because when it comes to leadership and the kind of leadership that we have right now, or rather the kind of setup that we have in Kenya right now when it comes to politics, the only thing that will get you going is courage. So we need to be courageous, and that is one factor, one aspect of Boniface Mwangi that I've picked, and I usually carry it within my heart. So yes, coming to our current setup in Ngong, I think that is one of the things that I'll be bringing on board, so that we be in a position to fight for the rights of the Ngong residents, and also make the change that we so much desire, sababu vitu zimekuwa hivi tu. Watu wanafanya mambo kwa njia yenye ijulikani, ieleweki, lakini sasa tunataka this time round mambo ikuwe tofauti. Tuweze kufaitia hizi rights za watu na watu waweze kupata maendeleo yenye inawafaa.
So you vied in 2017 and you're back in 2022. Why MCA and not MP and not senator and not governor?
Once you start climbing a ladder, you start from the lowest step, going upwards. So for me, I didn't want to bite more than I can chew.
Okay.
So I decided that to be realistic, the one political seat that I can easily clinch or secure is this of MCA. And I think it gives me the right path where I can groom myself as a leader.
Okay.
Because, you know, even as much as we want to go out there and ask for votes from our residents, you know, you have to show that you are capable of leading. And one of the platforms that one can get as a leader to show off, to showcase your leadership skills.
Mbiriri, I am very well aware of your social activism. I don't know if we are using that word for so long, but I'd like to talk about I'd like you to talk about the things you have done, and especially for the Ngong Stadium. That is where I know you as, and football and sports generally.
Emeldah, I think that is a field that I'm not very comfortable doing because I'm that person who don't usually know how to blow his own trumpet. I'm trying to be modest. Yes. Okay. But anyway, moving on, I've done a lot of things for my community, that is the Ngong residents. Okay. And now that you've mentioned the sports, which I'm not only inclined to sports alone, I've also done things for wamama wa soko pale. I've tried to, there was a time where wamama wa soko walikuwa wanapewa these slots za hii soko mpya, the new market, exactly, when they were moving from the holding the holding temporary market to the new market. Sasa there was this slots that people were being given by the World Bank, and there was a time where there was some women ama wamama wenye walikuwa wamepewa slots by the World Bank legally, and then I don't know what happened, but they came to realize later that those slots were taken by other people. And they were very frustrated, knowing that they knew they had slots where they'll be conducting their businesses from, and yet right now, as we were speaking at that particular point, at that particular time, they didn't have any slot where they could carry out their activities. So the frustration was growing over, and they came to me for help, and we joined up. We got to know the number of women who are facing the same problem.
You joined up, you and who?
Me, plus other leaders, community leaders, that is, plus also the women who were having that that challenge. Yeah. So we came together, had a discussion, and decided that we are going to push for this agenda as a team, and that is what we did. And I'm glad to report that yes, indeed, we managed to secure back those slots to the women who were deserving, or rather who deserved to have those slots. Yeah. And that is one achievement that I can say of. And also going to sports, which touches on the young people a lot. We've been able to even recently we had a tournament. We did a petition to the county assembly, where we wanted to petition the county assembly so that we can secure back the public land, the public stadium land that has been grabbed by private developers. So that petition was specifically to petition the county government so that we can have the stadium land given back to the public, to the wananchis, so that at least sasa from there we can be having development. Because as we speak, Emeldah, we've been to many public participation as young people, especially sports people. And even in those public participation, we did try to solicit for funds. And on one particular public participation, we did that successfully. We did manage to secure 5 million for the sports people of Ngong. Yes. But what we came to realize later is that the funds never reached us. And when we went on to ask the question as to why those funds never reached us, we were told that the government cannot invest on a land which is not theirs. So it is as if the government was of the opinion that that land belongs to the private developers. So that is one of the things that have been really pushed us to the edge, and we decided that we are not going to sit back and just watch things as in happen the way they are happening. So we decided to take a mandate, to take it upon us, so that we can reclaim that land back. And that is one of the other achievements that I have been able to do so far. And the list is so long. I'm pretty sure there are many of them. Even recently we've been doing registration for kazi mtaani kwa our new social hall ya vijana hapo kwa the new market 3rd floor, where we noticed that as much as this time round registration is online, where the government was targeting a lot of people, because we know with online there's no corruption. You only need your smartphone and internet so that you can register yourself comfortably at your own convenience, you know. But sasa we noticed that there are some young people, even wamama and say wazee, if this time round kazi mtaani is going to consider wazee and wamama, we noticed that there are some of them who don't have smartphones and cannot access internet, and apart from them accessing internet, they can also visit the cybers, but they don't have the funding ama they don't have the finances to visit a cyber so that they can register for kazi mtaani. So we decided that as young leaders who we usually say that we speak for the young people, decided to come up with this project where we were having a person registering people for kazi mtaani at our social hall pale kwa soko mpya, free of charge. So you just
is that person Kara Waithaka?
Yes, that person is Kara Waithaka, the tallest guy in Ngong.
All right, I think I saw that online, and I'd say you did a commendable job.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Now, have you involved the current leadership in anything so far? What is your relationship with the current leadership? Yes, I have.
Yes, I have. Actually, in most, if not all, of my undertakings, I've made sure that before even doing anything, I usually like doing things in a planned manner. And in each and every planned manner, there's a protocol to it. And one of the protocol when it comes to soliciting for funds, say from the government, there's that protocol where you have, there's that channel that you have to follow for you to secure those funds. And those are the channels that we've been following. And it is so saddening to come here and say that not all of the time that you do what is required for you to secure public funds, that you get them. There are times where what is required is done, but you still end up being frustrated, given the political reasons. Maybe you're not aligned with a certain leader, or maybe you've never, hujaiimba kiongozi fulani umsifu mbele ya watu, unajua hizo siasa duni. So such aspects has led to young people being frustrated when they are trying to get these opportunities from the government. But yes, I've managed to engage them. But at one particular point, in those many trials, at one particular point at least we did that successfully, and that is how we did secure the hall at the Ngong market, na bado tukasecure a public toilet where we are managing as the Ngong Youth Alliance, which is a youth group in Ngong, which encompasses almost all, if not all, the youth groups in Ngong.
I'd say umeiva. Given that small history, I will not even ask about the rest, but you've done a good job so far. Now, kuna kitu was you explaining about you engaging the current leadership. It's like they were a bit distant from what you are doing. That is one greatest fear of the electorate, that these guys wanakuanga na sisi huku sana kabla waingie, lakini wakiingia we don't know what happens. What do you think happens, and what would be your assurance?
Yes, there's that norm. Allow me to call it norm.
It's a norm.
Where people tend to be good whenever they are seeking for votes. But once elected, they change drastically, and they become a different person. And for sure, that has made even electorates to get to a level where they are now fearing us politicians, to an extent that as no matter how good you seem to the people, they'll always tend to have that a perception that you're always going to change. So imetu kwanza sisi young and upcoming political leaders tumejipata kwa pali pagumu sana, because given that fact if you're not giving out, you're not dishing out handouts, you're just selling your manifesto. As much as it resonates with the people and the needs that they have at that particular time, they just still tend to believe that as much as you're telling us you're going to do A, B, C, D, once you reach there, you're not going to even do even A. So I'd rather we eat your money right now, so that once you get there, whatever step you decide to take, tulimalizana. Unaona, sasa that is the kind of perception that we have, and it is a sorry state. And for me personally, I like to insist that that is the kind of politics that we want to eradicate and make sure that it doesn't grow any further. As it has already taken roots in our country, but we need to uproot it and throw it out of the fence, because it is taking us backwards, retrogressive, instead of us progressing forward. So going forward, I think personally, I already mentioned earlier on that one of the things that I realized was that implementation is lacking. As much as we have many good policies at our county assemblies or at our parliament, national assemblies, still when it comes to the implementation phase, and that is where a promise given should be a commitment that should be delivered, you know, and that is where people tend to go wrong. So for me, I do promise that once a promise is given, that is a pledge that I intend to take upon and deliver unto it.
Courageously. Team courage. All right. Now, there's one thing that people do not know, that there are devolved functions of government, and there are those that belong to the national government with the member of parliament. Now, what in your campaigns have you started? Do you do civic education? Unapata MP anapigwa mambo ya MC anapigwa mambo ya watu hawajui. What have you done anything to step that up in terms of educating the masses?
Yes, of course we do that. While campaigning, we try do civic education on the same. Try to draw a line between the national government mandates and the county government mandates. But sometimes it doesn't go well with the people, with the electorates down there. Sababu for them, once you are a leader, you need to sort out all their issues. So me personally, I took that mandate of saying that once I get into the county assembly, yes, first and foremost, I'll have to deliver on my 3 constitutional obligations, which is legislation, representation, and oversight. But I won't sit back and say that now that I've achieved the 3 of them, now I'll relax and assume that I've already achieved everything. So I'll have to go above and overboard and try to reach out onto these other matters where people are feeling that they need to be sorted out, yet they are not within my mandate. Even if it means to working with, say, maybe our the one who will be elected as our member of parliament in Kajiado North, even if it's pushing for action from the said office, that is what I intend to engage in, and also even actually push for ward development fund. You know, we usually have that, but it is not constitutional right now, because as we speak, the county government usually disperses 30 million each financial year to the county level, where it is supposed to carry out activities or other projects at the county level stage, but sasa we need to have that constitutionally documented, where it is not a matter of us requesting for that. It is an obligation where the county government has to do that, and not only push for that, but also raise the amount to say 50 million. Because are you that side?
It's not constitutionally legal. So are you pushing for a constitutional change?
Actually, before you even asked that question, it's only that you had cut me short a bit, okay. But I was to address that. Right. By me saying that is not that it doesn't mean that I'm supporting BBI.
Okay, I was avoiding the mention of that. Let us go with the constitutional change.
But it doesn't mean that I am for constitutional change. I do believe some of the things that were proposed in the constitutional change that was being the agenda that was being driven across the country can be done without even having an entire overhaul of the constitution. We can have bits of the constitution being changed, and those are acts added unto it. So I think those are things that can be achieved without even having a constitutional change. So I'm not in support as we stand.
Well, I approve of your knowledge, in that whole political space, and understanding your mandate and mastering it so well, and having the courage to talk about it. I think hiyo jina courage imekuwa cliche kwa hii clip. But let us continue. So now Campaigning in 2017, you had mentioned about resources. And campaigning in 2022, the resource situation has not changed. And now that you have responsibilities back at home, how do you carry out your campaigns?
It is a challenge.
Yeah.
I wouldn't sit here and lie about it. It is a huge challenge, especially given that I'm a young person, and we young political leaders are facing this huge challenge, not known as financial muscle. Yeah. We don't have that financial muscle to wrestle out with our elder brothers, if you may allow me to call them. Okay. But the thing is, once this calling for leadership comes and you are way, kuna kitu watu wanasemaga ukiavulia lazima uyanawe, si ndio? Unabidi uoge tu na hiyo maji, ushatoa nguo. When it comes to finances, we'll try do harambes, and I'm also pleading to the electorates out there. Those of you who do believe in my leadership, and those of you who want good leadership, kindly I'll put up a pay bill number where people can crowd. But I've not yet outsourced the pay bill number. Okay. But once I've done that, I'll share it with you so that maybe in your next interview you'll be able to you can able to share it with the electorates. But I'll request them whatever amount that you'll be able to aid us with, to help us with our campaign. That is the kind of money that we are planning to use in our next elections. But yes, before that, I think personally, whatever I'll be able to raise at a personal, at an individual capacity, a level, I'll use that. And also family and friends, I'm pretty sure many of them do believe in my candidacy, and they'll tap in trying to help me. So those are the kind of avenues that we'll try to use when it comes to finances and doing our campaigns.
All right. There is something that I'd like now for you to talk about, is the exhaustion in the electorate. People are tired. They do not want to vote. So many people have said they will not wake up in the general election. And that is a challenge to you aspirants. What would you like to tell the people? Check the stage.
The thing is, I'm also very much aware of that, and it is a huge challenge that we are facing, especially we who have never even clinched that political seat, because the issue is people, as we had said earlier, people have been taken for a ride for a very long time, to an extent that they don't even believe in our leadership anymore. So people tend to have that perception where it is already decided. The system will always have its way, no matter how much we turn out to vote. If they decided it is so and so, it will be so and so. Our votes doesn't count. But that is one perception or mindset that we want to change. We want to tell people that, okay, let's assume that is the truth. So what? So do we just lay back and decide that, okay, we now give up and let them have their way without even us putting on a fight? So my encouragement is for young people and even the other electorates in general, let us not give up. The only way to change this system, to change the current leadership, the current setup of Kenyan politics, is for us to vote. And the only way for us to vote is for us to register as voters and pick up our voting cards, and come 2022 August, turn out in numbers and vote. And not only voting, this time around we are not only voting, we are voting and guiding our votes. Sababu this notion of saying that kura zitaibiwa, hii ni story yenye inafaa ipitwe na wakati. We are in a new era. Sahi hata kubali zibiwe rahisi. Whatever will be stated at the polling station level, that is what will be relayed.
All right. Before I ask you to now talk to the people of Ngong to vote for you, let me ask you on a very light note about your religion.
You had to go there, Emeldah.
On a very light note.
No problem. No problem. Anyway, actually we were having this discussion, I'm not sure with who, but we were talking about interviews, and one of the questions that came out clear that they are not important is, what's your religion? But anyway, given that you've already asked the question, I'm a chef. But anyway, I won't dwell much into what I believe in. What I know is that I believe in God. And given that fact, this turban resonates. Yes, it's a turban. And this turban always elevates me to the level that it always reminds me of the discipline that I'm supposed to portray, not only to my electorates, but to any other person that I usually mingle with. So it is a sign of discipline, it is a sign of love, it is a sign of positivity. So whenever you see it, those are the things that should come across your mind.
But no one has ever related that to anything. Has anyone ever questioned you about that?
There was a time I usually had, especially at the time that I started wrapping a turban on my head. I usually had questions, and not only questions, but also people used to judge me, especially on a negative on a negative level, or rather aspect. But I think with time, when people get to engage with you, get to know you better, they tend to get to learn you more, and get to know the kind of person who you are. And with that, I think respect comes on automatically, and people tend to now relate to you as for who you are, not for what they think you are, ama who they think you are.
So hata ukiingia county assembly, turban utakuwa nayo?
It doesn't stop me from doing anything. You know, if it is passing of laws, it's a matter of my cognitive capability, and if it is a matter of disseminating the same in terms of say articulating issues, it is a matter of me using my mouth. And since I'm not wrapping it on top of my mouth, I'm rather covering my mouth. I think it doesn't stop me from doing anything. But yes, it is a good question. I know it is something that it is a concern, exactly, because I don't think so far we've had, especially at our county level, Kajiado, we've not had a person who has a turban on, who has been able to be elected. Yes, we do have actually our current, the one whom I'm contesting against, Bwana Sungura. And I'm even glad, by the way, he was able to clinch that seat before me, because he has been able to showcase to people that having long hair as a man, or having that difference in appearance, it doesn't take anything away from you, you know. You'll still be the same person. If you are capable as a leader, you'll deliver. If you are not, you won't. It doesn't matter how presentable you are in terms of your dress code, ama your appearance. So it was actually a good riddance when it comes to those many long questions.
Right. You're a good orator. I could listen to you all day. But kwa sababu we interview ni timed, I'd like you now to point directly. I mean, to look at the camera directly and talk to the constituents. Ama watu wa Ngong, uambie wakupatie kiti.
For me, I would like to insist first and foremost ya kwamba when it comes to politics is not a matter of hatred. So come 2022, I'll request my electorates to have all the calmness that they can have and practice something known as peace. Kwa hivyo uchaguzi yetu ikuwe ya amani na ya upendo. Alafu pia niendelee niseme siasa si chama, si ukabila, siasa ni sera. So I'm pretty sure people are tired enough, so they want that leader who will come and give them the change that they want. Na ndio maana mimi nimejitokeza, naamini hii kazi naweza. Sasa nina imani ya kwamba mkinipa hiyo kiti, tutaweza kusukuma hizi mabadiliko kwa upana zaidi, na tutaweza kuwa na hiyo nguvu ya kuleta hiyo change kwa watu wangu wa Ngong. Come 2022, I'll be vying for the MCA seat in Ngong. So kindly tutembee pamoja tuweze kuclinch hii kiti. Asante.
Well, thank you so much. We have come to the end of that. Thank you for coming. It was a long one. It was a long time coming, but you finally came. I will not stop bullying you for that. Thank you. We wish you the very best.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And we have come to the end of the interview. Thank you so much for sticking through to the end as usual. And if you haven't, please subscribe. Actually, I'm getting so many views, yet few subscribers. Please subscribe. We have more to come. And if you know of any young leader who has a story and deserves this visibility, please tell me on the comment section below, and trust me, tutamtafuta and we shall bring them to the show. Thank you so much.